Now you want to declutter, but there is so much stuff and so little time. Wouldn't it be great if there was someone who could just step in, tell you exactly where to start, what to do, and how to get the best, fastest results with the smallest amount of time and energy? Well, consider me your decluttering genie. Let's go. Hi guys, it's Laura, and when it comes to decluttering, believe me when I tell you that I know how overwhelming it can be. In fact, 5 years ago, I was so overwhelmed that I actually took an entire month off just to deal with all of the clutter that had built up in my home. And thus, the 1 month challenge was born, and this year for the 5-year anniversary, I am taking it right back to its roots. I am making it a decluttering challenge to take you from stuck to getting stuck in. I have been seriously decluttering, not just kind of decluttering here and there, but actually seriously decluttering for the past 5 years now. It's actually been about 5.5 years. So I know pretty much everything there is to know about it. All of the tips, all of the pitfalls. And even though I have shared a ton of that information over the years, I still know how hard it can be to actually just get started and to put that stuff into practice. I know what it's like to feel like you're taking 1 step forward and then 2 steps back. So I wanted to put together a decluttering guide for you. Now, before I get into the hows or the whys of the decluttering challenge, I wanted to give you some general decluttering advice that is going to stand you in good stead no matter what area you are tackling. These are the top 5 things that I have learned in 5 years of decluttering. And the very first is to take it in small chunks, whether that be, small chunks of time or whether it be just one small area at a time. And the reason I say this is because when you pull everything out, and I know that that is what Marie Kondo recommends, it's something that I have done, but when you have a lot of other things going on in your life, that is very overwhelming, and it's not necessarily something that you can do in a day. You don't necessarily have a whole day or a whole weekend to devote to decluttering. So taking it in really small chunks, either, 5, 10, 15 minutes here and there, or only working on one drawer, one shelf, something like that. That will help you to build on your success, because you can still do an entire room. You might feel like you have to dive in and do the whole thing all at once, but you can still get a whole room decluttered, going drawer by drawer, tiny little corner by tiny little corner. And that way you can actually build on your success and build up that momentum. It's also great for actually helping you to see progress. And I know that this is something that is really difficult, particularly if you decide to tackle a big space, maybe an entire bookcase, and you pull everything down or you pull everything out of your kitchen cupboards and the place is just a mess and it takes so long to get it decluttered and to get it reorganized that it's really hard to see a visible difference, and then it's really easy to get demotivated and to feel frustrated and want to give up. So taking out one small space at a time, making that look great and decluttering it gives you those visible results that you want and gives you that motivation and that, that little pep to keep you moving around the rest of your home. Number 2 then is going to sound like a contradiction of that, but bear with me, I will explain it. But it is to completely empty a space if you can. What this does is that it gives you this lovely, what I call, echo effect. When you empty a space entirely, you are loath then at that stage to just pile it back up full of crap. You get to see and experience what a room or what a bookcase would look like if it were clean and clear. So, okay, I know it does sound like it's in contradiction to what I said about going, taking small chunks at a time. What I would recommend is that, let's take the example of the bookcase. You deal with one shelf at a time. So you take down the things from one shelf, you declutter them, you separate all of the things out that you no longer want, you donate them, trash them, recycle them, whatever. Then you take down the next shelf and you go shelf by shelf until the entire thing is completely decluttered. If you can do that, that is what I would recommend. Again, I know that that is not always possible, but that is what I have found to be one of the best things to do, because once everything is emptied, I am, for me, much more discerning about what I put back into that space. The third tip then, and if you've been around here for any length of time, you will have heard me talk about this over and over again, it is to have an exit strategy. This is one of the most important things. It is where I fell down massively, where I continue to fall down to this day. What an exit strategy is just having some idea at the outset of what you are going to do with the stuff that you declutter. So knowing where you're going to be donating it, when you're going to be donating it. Because if you don't have that, what I find is that I just leave things to kind of build up and linger around the place, because I declutter it, it all ends up in a pile or in a box or in a bag or something, and then it sits there, or it goes into my car and it drives around with me as my little passenger for months and months on end. So having an actual clear plan, a clear idea of what you are going to do with that stuff. It doesn't have to be incredibly specific, but just knowing overall what you are going to be doing with the stuff and when you are going to be getting it out of your home. The fourth one then, if you actually want to see continued results, this is where so many people backslide, I feel. It is to actually stem the flow. And what I mean by that is to actually stop more clutter from coming into your home, because there is absolutely no point in decluttering if there is just a constant influx of things. So a very basic, simple example would be, if you decluttered all of your magazines and newspapers and things like that, but you still have a monthly subscription to multiple, various different ones, and then every month there's just more and more coming in. So having some sort of system in place whereby you stem the flow, where you actually cancel those subscriptions, where you log into your accounts and switch from paper statements to e-statements, all of those types of things, thinking about how you can stop clutter from coming into your home in the future, so that the results that you get now are not just going to be entirely wasted next month, next week, when more and more stuff is coming in. And then the fifth tip then, before I move on to the challenge and explaining what that's all about, and that is to get comfortable. This is a really practical tip, and it's one that I found invaluable, and I learned this one the hard way, believe me. But when you are decluttering, the tendency can be to lean over a pile of papers or to sit yourself on the floor and go through stuff. Get yourself as comfortable as you can, even if that means bringing a stack of papers over to your armchair or over to your couch. Have a snack, have a drink on hand, and just get yourself into a situation where you can comfortably go through all of that stuff. Because believe me, particularly with papers, this was something I found. I sat on the floor, I went through all of them, and it was just agony in more ways than one. It's a really tedious process, but my back started to get really, really sore. And then if you're in that situation, wanting to go back for round two, not the most appealing option. So get yourself as comfortable as you can, take a bathroom break before you sit down, bring all of your stuff, get yourself seated comfortably. Like I said, have a snack or a drink on hand, and then you will be much more inclined to actually stick with it and go through the stuff. So those are my top 5 tips. Now let's move on to the decluttering challenge. I'm really excited about this one because it's just going to guide you through it. Let you see like big results, but with small effort. So let's talk about exactly what it is. I am calling this clutter-free in 5. It is all about things you can do around your home in just 5 minutes a day. Areas where you are going to, be able to dive in, spend a few minutes on it, and then have actual, visible, lasting results at the end of it. I want to be able to guide you through it, take the guesswork out of it for you. So it is a 30-day challenge. You are going to get a new video, a new prompt every day for 30 days. And it's just going to give you those simple 5-minute tasks that you can do to actually see real progress in your home. Like I said, there are going to be 30 videos, and throughout it, they're going to be full of tips and demonstrations to help you get the most out of the challenge. Okay, so that is it for the what. Now onto the how, like how you can follow along with this. The first thing I will say is to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss those videos. There is also a workbook included in this. I'm going to link it in the description for you. It is several pages of, exercises that you can fill out, decluttering questions that you can ask yourself if you need some clarity around whether or not you should keep something. It has a checklist of all of the tasks we are going to be going through. It has a space for notes, all of that good stuff. So if you want that, it's completely free, comes with the challenge. Like I said, it is linked in the description for you. If you want some extra accountability, if you want some decluttering friends, there will be a Facebook group also. Again, I will link that in the description. After that, then you can use and or follow the hashtag clutter-free-in-5. That is how you're going to be able to keep track of what everyone else is doing, see other people's progress, read about tips, other people's advice, what they are doing, what's working for them, what's not working for them. And if you are sharing something on social media and you use that hashtag, that is how I am going to be able to see your efforts and be able to cheer you on. So the very first video in the series is going to be all about the things that you should do before you actually dive in and start decluttering. This is going to be all about setting yourself up for success. So skip this one at your peril. Make sure you subscribe, that you download the workbook, and let's cure all of your clutter woes one step and one video at a time. When you are ready, you can just click right here to dive in. Go raibh míle maith agam. Agus feicim mé sibh se go luath. Slán!